Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World with me, Ashim Kumar. Security along Europe's eastern flank is back in focus as Estonian Prime Minister Michal prepares to deliver the opening address at a conference on the European Union's eastern border regions. With Russia's war in Ukraine raising regional concerns, we're joined by Estonia's Interior Minister, Igor Taro, to discuss security, integration and conscription. Minister Taro, welcome to TVP World. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for inviting.
It's a pleasure, sir. It's a pleasure. So tell us a little bit about the meeting that Prime Minister Michal had. What was on the agenda? What were the outcomes?
Yeah, but the main topic of our international meeting lately are the security agenda, and we have, as you all know, probably the main security threat in the region, the main security threat in Europe and maybe globally is Russia and Russian aggression against Ukraine and actually the Russian ambitions. So it's always about Russia, I think.
Can you be more specific about what was discussed today?
Today, you mean on our meeting here in Warsaw?
Yes, please.
Yes, but today we were discussing migration issues because the hybrid threats from Russia includes also the instrumentalization of migration. So these people are sent on our external borders, not to the Estonian border, but as you know, the Poland have issue with Belarus and the Lithuania and the Latvia also, and the Finland also. But Estonia has been some kind of exception. Our border is, for now, it's very peaceful, but we acknowledge that it is very high risk and it can be only temporary. So we have to acknowledge this risk. And today we met with the Pakistani Minister of Internal Affairs to discuss these issues. And we heard that Pakistan is really eager to cooperate.
Okay, now that was your meeting here in Warsaw, but Prime Minister Michal also spoke with members of the European Union in Brussels about security issues. Can you tell us anything about that meeting?
I think one of the important issues is how to tackle with Russia threats, and we have one initiative from Estonia is to ban the ex-combatants of Russia who has been participating in aggression against Ukraine, to ban them from entering Schengen zone for life, and to impose this absolute ban for everybody, all the Russian nationals who has been serving in the armed forces or some other armed formation, for example, the Wagner groups in this war, because it's a huge security threat for whole Europe.
So the meeting today in Brussels was about banning ex-military personnel from coming into the European Union via the Baltic states. Is that correct?
This could be one of the topics that Prime Minister could have raised because this is our main initiative now against Russian aggression and to secure the future of Europe.
Now, one of the issues you have, Minister, of course, is your large Russian minority. About 25% of your population has Russian roots. How do you view that minority? Some of them, I expect, have been there for generations, some for shorter periods. How do you assess the threat, perhaps, that they pose, and how are you dealing with that threat?
We shouldn't assess it in the first place as a threat, because these are people who are living in Estonia, and we have to be also optimistic about it. What do I mean by saying that? A few days ago we had an Independence Day, and on this Independence Day in the early morning, I went to Narva city, which is located on the border with Russia, and it's a city with most of Russian language-speaking population. So what did I see early in the morning? There were lots of people who came to the ceremony of raising our flag on the sunrise. Local people who were very festive, they were very happy. And what I saw is the people who want to belong in our society, and actually I made a short speech there, and I said that for everybody, even if they are not our citizens, even then they are very welcome to be in Estonia, but the only thing is that they have to accept our values, the values about democracy, about freedom, about the not accepting the aggressive ways how Russia is treating Ukraine and all its neighbors. And if you accept these values, then you are just an organic part of Estonian society.
Understood. I mean, of course, that makes perfect sense, and it's what one would expect from your country. But there will be a minority. I mean, we know that hybrid warfare, including the use of Russian-speaking minorities outside Russia, are often leveraged for various nefarious activities by Russia. How are you protecting against those kinds of events?
At first, we don't recommend people to travel to Russia. This is a very strong recommendation from Estonian government. Of course, people still go. Maybe they have some personal reasons. We still have borders a little bit open, not really open. But how we deal with the threat, we have stopped issuing any tourism visas for Russian citizens already in 2022. And we are not letting any people with tourism visas from other countries through our external border. So if there is a Russian national coming, for example, from the tourism visa from some Western European country, no entry, and we have to send them back because the war is going on the same reasons you said. This is maybe one of the most topic we had very hard discussions in European Union. We have been raising this issue also on the council meetings, and let's say we don't have a great consensus on this topic of letting Russian tourists in, because last year there were more than 500,000 Russian tourists in Europe, which is, from my point or my perspective, it's illogical. If you are waging a war against another country, and then the citizens of aggressor can go somewhere to France or to Italy to take a vacation. Ukrainians, they don't have such an opportunity to take a vacation. They are happy if they are alive next morning. So, I mean, it's immoral what's going on. This is one way how we tackle it. But if we are taking the minority in our country, then you said it was about more than 20%. But we have only 5% of Russian nationals. So this has been the work of past decades, which we have been doing. 25 years ago, we had 170,000 people with undetermined citizenship, mostly Russian-speaking people who didn't have any citizenship. Now we have only 58,000. 3 times less, about 3 times.
So they now have Estonian citizenship?
They mostly have Estonian citizenship now, so it's an integration, and the most important part of integration is education. We had about 30 years of parallel education system, which was absurd.
Parallel, you mean Russian-speaking?
Yes, we had a parallel Russian-speaking education system, and it was absurd because how do you create these common values with the younger people if you don't have a common education system? But somehow, for political reasons, it wasn't possible to do it before. Now we have done it. And now they are learning in Estonian language. And as we see, younger people, they have more common values with everyone.
So there are no longer any Russian language schools operating in Estonia?
Yes. There is no longer any Russian schools operating in Estonia like it was before. So all the municipal and state schools, they have to be in Estonian.
I'd like to zoom out now a little bit, Minister, and talk about your defence posture generally. And one of those areas, of course, is conscription. What is Estonia's policy on conscription?
The conscription is compulsory for
all citizens, including Russian speakers.
For males, females can come voluntarily, and including, of course, we are not dividing our population by language. It's there can be differences depending on the citizenship. If you are Estonian citizen, whatever your mother tongue is, you have all the obligations. And the conscription actually have been a very good integrational project, because even those young men who came to army and who couldn't speak any words of Estonian, some months later, 8 or 12 months later, they came out speaking Estonian language and understanding it.
Right. Well, it sounds like an excellent model for integration, so compliments. Just very briefly, tell us a little bit about your joint posture, defence posture. And by joint, I mean the 3 Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. How closely do you work together on this?
Of course, we are closely working together, not only with Latvia and Lithuania, because we are NATO member, and the situation has changed, because now the Finland is also in NATO, Sweden is also in NATO. But with Latvia and Lithuania, of course, we have this common land border, and we have to discuss all kinds of crisis situations and situation, for example, if there would be some kind of mass movement of people, then we have to assess these risks. And
so mass evacuations?
Yes, let's say that mass movement of people can be of 2 origins. One is mass evacuation, which is done, for example, by state, which is mandatory or organized, but the other is when people go voluntarily. So if anything happens in one of our countries, most probably one important part of population can start moving voluntarily. So even if we are not organizing, we have to acknowledge it, and we have to think through all the points of border crossing.
An enormous logistical exercise, it would seem.
Yes, it should be thought through in advance.
Yes. Unfortunately, Minister, we're going to have to end it there. There's so much more I'd like to talk about, so please do come and see us again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away, lots more coming up. Goodbye.